Hey guys, this is your host Gooby, and welcome to the Toon Balloon podcast, our outlet to discuss, theorize, and enjoy our favorite webtoons, with the occasional anime and manga sprinkled in between. In today's episode, my friends Bee&AL and I will be discussing the final season of Attack on Titan, Part 2. Considering the second part has concluded and we are now awaiting for the third act, we have taken the time to sit down and express our thoughts on the season as a whole. It will be a broad discussion and we'll be tapping into our thoughts on the finale as well. Now, before we start, there will be spoilers, so you have been warned. Now, let's talk the final season of Attack on Titan, Part 2. All right, guys. So today we are going to have our sprinkle of anime, which I'm excited because I had not been able to talk about Attack on Titan, season 4, quote unquote, final season, part 2. And I am joined with my guests, Bee&AL.
Hey.
Hurrah.
So usually I think with the last part, I did like episode by episode discussions, by myself. And so this time around, I didn't have any time to talk about it. And it was such a short part too. I was expecting it to end. And then when I started hearing rumors about it getting extended, I felt disdain.
So I heard rumors that what they were going to do is either A, extend it, or B, what they really wanted to do, I guess, was make the final episode like a movie long or something of that nature, which I would have been fine with.
I'm fine with there being a third part, but if I had to choose, I would have probably chosen the movie just because I go in 2 hours later, I'm done, instead of having to wait, 2 months, week to week for the final. But I'm honestly not as bothered as everyone is about there being a third final season.
Dude, I'm a little peeved because this is from high school. I've graduated college and now I'm still waiting for this to end. I'm ready for this chapter of my life to come to a close.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but at the same time, I'm not bothered by it. I'm for whatever reason, I waited 4 years for season 2. I can wait a year and I guess 2 months for the final episode.
And this is why you're magic.
Sure.
I usually think I have pretty good endurance when it comes to waiting on shows. I'm still reading a manga that I think is on its 15th to 16th year run. And it hasn't ended. And I'm just I don't know when it's going to end, but I'm still committed, but I usually think I have pretty good endurance. But in this case, it just feels like, a carrot, like a rabbit trying to get its carrot. And someone's just going yeet, you're not going to get it today. Yeet, you're not getting it today.
Yeah, I can feel that, especially since I watched it. I watched what was just released this past Sunday, and then the fact that they extended it, I was like, I'm just gonna read the rest. And there's only 5 episodes left, so I really don't understand the extension for 5 episodes.
I feel like they could have just completed part 2, and if they did the movie, they would have just gotten a phenomenal budget at that point.
Yeah,
and that would have been pretty cool too.
I think while I would have preferred the movie, I think that's probably not their best move, because if they do the movie, that comes out in limited theaters where the viewer has to go to a theater. They have to pay to watch that, versus some of them, at least in Japan, they just watch it on TV. It just comes out.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't care. I'll go to the theater. I'll watch that thing twice that same day. I think the best move is for them is the show or an extra episodes.
I also wonder, like, did they just run out of time? Like, with their time limit, they keep putting on their like animators because I know it's really complex over there with the way Attack on Titan's been being handled by the animation studios.
Right.
And so I don't know if like when they were working on part 2, they're like, we're not done. And they're like, okay, we'll just play it off like we're cash grabbing. I'm like, that would be really nice to hear that. Oh, we just were trying to give them more time. But this is just, they told them, no, you have to wait because we're going to just do more. I mean, I really hope that these last few episodes just have, like, they have enough time to work with what they're given. I don't want them to be put on like a time crunch and just, emotionally traumatized by all this experience.
Yeah. You bring up a wonderful point. If the reasoning for them extending it out is because of working conditions and the fact that they really want to give us like good, impactful episodes, then I will be okay with it. I will deal with it. But if it's any other case than that, might not be okay with it.
Working these animators to death. I don't know if you've ever like researched like the way they are treated over there, like animators. It's crazy. Like some of them don't even have homes. Like there's like housing programs dedicated to animators just so they can afford like an apartment. And like that is devastating.
That's horrible.
Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping they at least get decently paid, good working conditions.
They won't be.
No, but this one, my expectation would be you need to give them that, but reality.
There's no way. They won't be. That's a horrible situation.
Yeah. Well, on to some tragedies. We'll talk about
of our own.
Yeah. Of our own.
Well, not exactly, but
yeah. Okay, so I don't know which part you want to like touch on first. When we talk about the part 2 of season 4, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
The very first thing that pops into my mind is the room with Rainer, Falco, and Aaron. How they kind of like start this, and you see how much Rainer's upset. Like, truly doesn't have, like, he just does not want to continue. He's very, very upset, and I can understand because he is a sweetheart, but also he is my favorite of the 9 Titans. I have no idea why there's all this memorabilia for the Colossal because it's about the armor, but we won't get there. But just seeing that emotion and then seeing Aaron completely emotionless, that was a big moment to realize that this is coming to an end.
Mm-hmm.
And then Falco just managed to be there.
Yeah. I think Falco's just like, I think he just has circumstantial timing. He's just there. Either he's there in the right situation, right time, or wrong situation, wrong time.
I do enjoy his character, and I like him more than I like Gabby, to be honest.
Oh my gosh. He gives me some faith in humanity in the series, and then there's Gabby, who kind of gives me complex feelings.
Yeah,
he does. Oh
I mean, what? That's because Gabby is definitely a much more complicated character.
Mm-hmm.
The moment she grabbed the anti-Titan rifle and shot Aaron, I looked at Justin and I was like, I want her dead. I want her to die too, instantly.
I'll be honest, my thought was like, how is her shoulder still attached to her body?
I didn't care. I wanted the impact to kill her. Oh.
Nah, dude, she's great. She's great.
Dude, she killed Sasha.
Okay,
Listen. You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just right. But
she killed Sasha. It's hard to forgive her after that.
I'm definitely not forgiving her. She can repent for that for a while. But whenever she did save what's that girl's name? Kaya or something?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get that parallel like shot of her looking like Sasha. I thought, how dare you?
I know. That
Who
was
do
like,
you
I
you
was
think
deserve
you
very
are?
that.
upset with that. Like, no, she doesn't get hero status. Mm-mm.
Not yet. Definitely not yet.
I didn't like that comparison because I was like, the most that she would get there is just a, oh, okay, I forgive you, not a, you're my new big sister. I'm like, excuse me, that's not, she is, hold up there. There was just none of that. But
Unless that is trying to show that they're gonna make like a Attack on Titan after this Attack on Titan, and they're gonna try to make Gabby the Sasha. And if that's the case, please don't. Please don't.
Don't even put those thoughts out there in the universe, because
I just spoke it into existence, and I'm
please
really
no.
sad.
I wish I had real wood, but no, there's just like Kia. I can't knock on it.
Oh my gosh.
you know, hopefully we don't manifest that. But I do find that kind of analyzing her character a bit, she's very complex. For one, there's many scenes where I'm like, yeah, I don't like you at all, and I actually find you kind of stupid at times.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes.
But then, go ahead. You go ahead first.
No, you continue.
Okay. I was gonna say, I do find that I appreciate that her character goes in a route where she kind of gets enlightened throughout the series. Like in the beginning, she's just this brainwashed child soldier, mind you, where she's essentially just doing what she thinks she needs to do to be accepted, which isn't okay. But in her lifestyle, that's kind of what she thought she had to do. And I do appreciate that when she goes to, where all the Eldians are, she starts, realizing that everyone is kind of human, and she didn't think that everyone was devils. And then she's like, I'm not a devil. And then it's just like, she's going through a mental process, and it's interesting to see. It doesn't completely stop me from like disliking her, like for sure.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. The whole time I was just kind of complex with her character because I'm like, do I like you? Do I not like you? I've never truly been able to say that I like her, but there's certain times where I can say I don't dislike you. And that's the closest that I'm getting to liking that character.
Well, I don't. As at the end of the day, I do like her, but there are definitely moments where like, you're literally just the worst. I actually hate you, but that's because she displays a lot of the similar characteristics to Eren, and the same reason I generally didn't like Eren throughout the whole series. She's just loud. She's just thinks she's hot shit. I just generally didn't like her. But then you consider everything that she has gone through with, and then when you compare that to Falco, it's kind of like a nurture versus nature type of situation where they can be pretty paralleled, but one Falco is just good because that's just the way he is, but Gabi, the way she goes through everything with, which is then the nurture aspect, she just becomes that much more complicated. And I do really like the way that her world kind of crumbles, like the walls, and she just comes to that enlightened state of like, oh crap, no, it's not just devils. Yeah, we all are. And that's where I really like her character, especially that scene after where she's stuck in that one house with Falco and Colt, and she comes to realize, no, they're just people.
Yeah, I enjoyed that moment in that character development. I still don't think it redeemed her.
It's fair. She's complex for a reason. I actually found that she's done so many things in the series already, and she's only been introduced for like this final season. Honestly, it's kind of amazing how much character development you see in one character in the span of how many episodes already? Like we haven't known her for that long.
The part one was what, 12 episodes, and this last one was like 8 maybe. So like 20 episodes, perhaps.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
But when she came in like
Yeah.
she made herself like known. Like she took out that train all on her own.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty badass. I'm like, yo, this girl's crazy, and she is.
I am curious what you think of like when Gabby was introduced. You know, she's kind of like an opposition, of course. She's so complex. She's kind of a foil for a lot of other characters around her, like for Falco. Falco's her foil. She's his foil.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm like, does it ever make you think like, is there even like a right character in this series? Like, do you find anything that anyone's doing right? You know?
Mikasa.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I think Levi more in that situation because Mikasa's like, she's just there. She's there for the edit, and that's it. But
like a war standpoint, that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, right. I felt that way back in what is it, the flashback memories, and with dude's dad, Grisha, when he's up there with Aaron Kruger, and then Aaron Kruger says that, well, who knows what the truth is? It's really, I mean, does it even matter? I felt like, well, then, yeah, I mean, you're kind of right. I mean, there's no real good or wrong. I mean, what you do now, I mean, later is going to be determined by whoever survives, and then they're going to be like, they're going to write the history books and like, this guy was wrong or this guy was right. And at the end of the day, it is just what they are doing in the moment that I think matters, not so much as whether it's right or wrong, which is clear. Genocide or absolute, well, I guess it's genocide on either side of the island or everywhere else. And obviously neither is right. So,
well, I personally, I said Mikasa right off the bat, and I stick with that because when I think about it, you know, this war that she's dealing with, yeah, she's a soldier. She's a boss lady to even begin with this. But she's having an internal war as well as a physical war because it's clear to see that she loves Aaron. And so now she's having to go to the idea of we're going to kill him or the potential of that. And she's having this physical battle where she's still saving everyone because she is like the absolute ninja. And then the fact that she's battling with herself if she's going to have to kill the love of her life. There's no thoughts. Bam, I won.
No thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, you could say the same, or not the same, obviously, but similarly. The other, what are they, 104 cadets, like Connie and John, they have to kill one of their best friends or let mass genocide. So really, I guess it's that whole group as a whole.
Yeah.
Than just one or the other. But that love angle there is definitely
it's
pretty strong in that sense. Yeah. Yeah, maybe a little bit more personal, I guess. But yeah.
You know, touching back on that with Jean and Connie, I'll get to it in a minute because I want to talk about Armin for a second. But for Mikasa, I did appreciate that when Bee mentioned, you know, she's here essentially just battling with this, like, I gotta, you know, kill the love of my life. And then also, Al, you mentioned that she is here for Eden. And that's the thing. She notices Eden and his internal struggle, like a little late, you know, of course, but she does realize later on too that not a lot of people are thinking about like, or no one really noticed or wanted to notice that he was kind of struggling internally. You know, he was alone in a lot of this. And so I don't know if someone kind of, you know, tried to touch with him a little bit more on it, would it have changed anything? Would it have prevented some of this? Because he really was just battling his own demons, literally having to fight all these thoughts of like, I'm going to have to kill everybody. I'm just going to ditch everyone. Like, you know, he really is just alone in a lot of this. And, you know, sadly, Mikasa kind of realized that a little late, but she was essentially thinking of him the most.
Yeah. I When it comes to that, Mikasa did think about him the most. I want to say that I like the development with Armin because Armin has always been like the weak guy. And all of a sudden he's trying to like step up a little bit, and I can appreciate that.
Mhm. Speaking of Armin, I think that episode where like you see everyone kind of have to battle with I'm gonna have to kill my friends, because this is the only way we're gonna get this done.
Mhm.
Watching that scene where like Armin got shot and just kind
Oh
of
my
stood there
gosh.
frozen was the most frustrating thing I've ever seen in my life, because the thing is, like, Hani understood the decision he had to make right there. He's like, I gotta do what I gotta do, because if I don't do this, everybody else is gonna die. And
Yeah.
Armin's still here like, I don't want to spill blood. I'm like, boy, blood has been spilled the moment you got shot. Blood has been spilled the moment everyone else died over there in the background. Like
That is true. They really make Armin such a weak character. Like, he's not even a soft boy. He's just kind of pathetic.
I mean, you're right. I mean, he is, and it sucks because like throughout the whole series, like the first few episodes aside, like this guy's just one little. He's so pessimistic, gives up on himself like at the drop of a hat, and then he comes up with obviously like these strategies, these plans. I'm like, all right, I like this kid, and then what is it? Hero comes on, like this guy is the real hero, and from there he becomes a favorite. But then he gets, revived and everything, and I guess the pressure's just too much, and he just starts falling apart.
Like, I didn't see why he decided to be a pacifist at that moment. Like, when was that decision made where it was time to be pacifistic? Because none of these characters were trying to make a deal with them, because there are people like their whole team was against them, and now you're trying to make peace when all your teammates die in the background, when you get shot in the face, when your friend's about to get killed right next to you, and you're still gonna act like you're gonna just not gonna spill blood.
Yeah, I really genuinely just don't understand that character. I will say that I think one of my favorite Armin part was probably going to be in the abridged series, which is totally different. But when all of a sudden, if you've seen the abridged, it's beautiful because it's like, I don't think these are gonna work. Tink, tink. That's like
that's the only time Armin's redeemable for me.
That, or I think the perfect description of Armin is in the abridged whenever Aaron's like, I need you to grab my hand, help me out, get me out of here. And he's just like, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what's going on. And it's like, that's right. You really don't know what's going on. Just grab his freaking arm.
You don't know what you're doing. You don't know. Like, I wonder the whole time, like, like you guys said, like he kills a whole dang city, by just colossal bombing them, right? And he's upset about this. But then he's here being like, I got shot in the face. I'm not going to do nothing about this. I'm not going to transform. I'm like, make a decision, boy. Are you going to be spilling blood too? Or are you just going to sit around and cry like a baby?
Yeah.
And it's not like he hasn't like killed, like face, like you could make the argument like, yeah, but he was out there in the distance. He just kind of, at that point, they're just numbers. He's just wiped out a city. There's just numbers, nothing like, there's no connection there. But he did kill that one lady that was about to shoot, shoot John back when they were kidnapping him. What is like season 3 with the whole like Kenny stuff?
Yeah.
John was about to die. Armin shot that lady in cold blood in front of him to save his friend. Bring that back. You have to save your friends if you have to kill. Well, I guess they're his friends too, but still, you disagree with them.
Yeah, I mean, his friends made a decision too.
Are. Right.
Yeah. Like, they made a choice. They're like, you're not our friend no more. You're our enemy.
That's. I want to say understandable. Maybe it's all the pressure, but at the same time, It's a bit much. It's a
Yeah.
bit much, dude.
Yeah.
He's kind of a weenie. Point blank the end.
All right. Well, that's just slander, and I will not allow this.
Sorry.
You know, if he ever gets a boo boo, he goes to Weenie Hut Juniors.
Listen,
Weenie Hut Junior.
if he gets a boo, he's going to Weenie Hut General. Why would he go to the
Junior.
restaurant when he can go to the hospital?
That's fair. Weenie Hut General. Oh my gosh.
Weenie Hut
I'm
General.
done.
Oh no.
Mhm.
Oh my god. Okay. How do we transition from Weenie Hut General?
Okay.
To the
we're
exact
talking about
opposite.
development. Yeah, let's go the exact opposite. Can we talk about Annie?
Annie. Okay, sure.
I really
Development.
loved whenever the rumbling was starting, and so Aaron's like, "All right, I've unmelted everyone," and then all of a sudden we're like, "Wait, he's unmelted everyone! Oh no!"
Listen, until that first frame of her showing up came on screen, I didn't even think about it. I totally forgot she existed.
Really?
Damn. I did forget.
Pretty much, she's like, she gets frozen way back in season 1,
Mhm.
and then you see like one scene with her with Armin. I'm like, bro, that's creepy. And then she's on the ground with shards of crystal around her. I never thought about it.
Yeah, like her
we
first
thought
scene
about
when
it at
she,
my house.
yeah, her first scene whenever she was, she was gonna kidnap the one girl that I guess talks to her every day ever since she's been frozen to life. She's here like, I'm gonna transform right now. I'm like, girl, you can't transform. You haven't eaten in a day. I doubt you've had. I just assume she's like malnourished at this point.
I mean, she was. That's kind of how she got the upper hand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I thought that maybe she could because no, she hasn't eaten, but she hasn't done anything. She's been sitting in a. I'm kind of thinking, you know what? She's a butterfly, and whenever they first come out of the chrysalis, they have to let their wings dry. So I guess having a wait period makes sense.
You thought she was like, I don't know. Did they have scenes where the other Titan shifters were like they couldn't do it because
Well, I don't know if being in the crystal would drain her at all. Because I mean, she was in there for like 4 years, and then what was like at least 4 years because that's the end of season 3 to that point, and then it had been an amount of time from season 3 to when she got frozen. So, but they have shown that. I mean, obviously they have their limits. Like Aaron can only transform so many times in a day.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that beating the crystal drained her at all. If it did, well then there you go. But I don't know that was ever clarified. So I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, I do wonder because if Eden hadn't melted everybody, would she have even gotten herself out of that crystal in the first place?
What?
Like if Eden hadn't like melted all of the like the armor essentially, which that crystal is armor, would she have ever, unfrozen herself?
Oh, she was conscious in there, so she totally could have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that she would have ever known until like the walls around her fall and she sees like, oh, that's all ruined. Up until that point, I don't think she would have ever gone out of there.
Yeah.
You know what? I just realized something.
Mm-hmm.
She was conscious the whole time because she talked to the girl and she thanked her for talking to her because that's the only interaction besides Armin that she was getting. So I guess she would be a little bit drained having to just stand there.
Mm-hmm.
You guys make a very valid point.
And I mean, yeah, it would be draining because her hair was growing. So her body was definitely using an amount of nutrients to do even that. Why the hell would do that? Focusing on something else. So yeah, I'm assuming that yeah, it took a toll on her to even be frozen that long.
Ooh.
What? gross.
This is a part. How do you guys feel about Connie trying to save his mom and feed Falco to her?
I think that was just a psycho, like, fever dream. Like, what the hell is happening? Why are we wasting, like, an episode and a half on this? Granted,
It
I
was
thought
just filler.
it kind of felt like filler, but yeah, I guess filler.
Like, I wondered, like, what was the end result other than, okay, we're back to it. We're going back. Like, I know this was in the manga for sure, but it didn't amount to anything.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I guess you could say it could be like how Connie's psyche is being affected, but at the same time, it felt a little kind of forced. It felt kind of out of left field, like it just happened for the sake of happening. Like they had to show us because maybe they hadn't showed Connie any development, which they honestly kind of haven't. So I guess maybe they felt they had to do something with him to then show his kind of like struggle later on as well.
I think they needed that scene maybe for Armin, because Armin was about to sacrifice himself right there, and like maybe that's who it was for mostly. Like Connie, of course, like you get his background, how he's feeling, his emotional state, and then you see Armin here and his emotional state, because he would just be like, I'm done, let her eat me. I don't know, like if that Titan was successful, like if Connie's mom was successful, would she have been able to eliminate everybody? Like, was she the secret?
Well, she might have been.
Yeah.
Like, who are these Marlians? They did what to me?
Yeah.
I got their number.
Oh
Meanwhile, Armin's right here like, oh, but he's my friend. Like, come on.
Nah, dude, we're spilling blood today. He's like, no, that's not what I wanted. I mean, I really do find that interesting because they said that the reason why she was, she couldn't move, like unlike most Titans, they're all like mobile and everything, but she's here just like stuck on the house, was because she was not mobile before. Like she didn't have mobility in her legs.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't remember
anything about that.
I do know that they brushed up on it, the possibility that because she was already so sick, that her Titan didn't fully develop, but we never got a clear, like, yeah, that's actually what happened or not.
Yeah, I don't have any memory of that, but I have only seen that was just the one time. So,
like, I'm trying to remember the aftermath of all of that. Like, once Armin did that, and then he stopped Connie from feeding Falco. What was the aftermath? They just went back to what they're doing, right? Like it was just okay, well, let's go save the world, I guess. See you later. Yeah. I'll see you later for dinner.
Oh my gosh.
What about whenever they met up with Annie? She's just sitting there eating. I saw like they're just talking for like a good minute, and it just felt like when Reiner spilled the beans way back when. I'm like, hold on. What's this thing is going on over here on this side of the screen? Let's bring some attention to that. And then they do. They're like, all right, thank you.
She's just chowing down. Like this is the first meal she's had in years, which fair enough. I would.
And they happen to be sitting next to each other. Like, all right,
coincidence?
sure.
I think not. I mean, plot requires it, of course. But I mean, I'm glad that she was able to meet up with everybody who essentially were important for this mission.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about Jean. And no, he didn't have very many scenes, but he did have those scenes with stupid redhead kid. I don't want to even remember his name.
Nah, but you do. You remember it, and you hate that you remember it. And I hate that I remember it, even though I think he's such a great character. I hate him. I hate him more than I hate Gabi. But he's a great character.
He infuriates me. Those scenes that he had with Jean, I was like really hoping Mikasa was just going to come in and just go, but she doesn't. And I'm like, how is this guy not punched in the face yet? Like he's still just running around mobile, unharmed. And that's when I appreciated Gabi. When she shot him, I was like, thank you. For once you did something right.
Oh my
Might do it like
gosh.
3-4 more times again, please.
So
Just to be sure.
Yeah.
something that like got to us at least. How did you guys feel seeing Pix as a Titan?
Oh, that was.
Well,
Go ahead.
animation wise, okay, weird, but at the same time, like, okay, I'm okay with this. I don't really think too much about it. I mean, it was kind of upsetting, specifically towards the end, whenever Armin killed him. I'm like, man, you that dude, you that guy.
Yeah.
But then that was pretty over pretty soon. I'm like, all right, moving on.
I think it hurt a lot this season to see so many of the people that they grew up with training them to just kind of disappear in front of our eyes. You know, Shadis was really upsetting because I loved him because of that abridged series. He has a special place in my heart. Pixies didn't deserve none of that. I wished he did. Like, I remember he said one of his wishes was just that, you know, I don't think he ever wanted to be a Titan. No one wants to be a Titan. I think he wanted to at least be eaten by like a sexy Titan.
Heck yeah. He said that way back. I've been rewatching some like highlights, some like even actual whole episodes in the past few weeks. And I remember seeing that scene like, you know how, I like this guy.
Yeah. I'm sorry I didn't get that though. He just became a Titan, which is really unfortunate.
And he got him to be a stupid Titan, of course.
Yeah, I know.
No, like, but he did have a bit of a dumpy, so there's sort of that. There is that.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like a sort of compromise.
That last drink he had better been good, you know, with the Titan blood in there. No, Titan spinal serum or whatever the heck, which is disgusting, by the way.
Listen, you don't know.
I don't know, maybe it tasted good because they were like chugging that stuff.
It was only for royal people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So hopefully it was good because that was sad to see him turn into a Titan. I was like, dang it.
It's kind of like caviar. It's just fish roe, but it's for the fancy people.
Yeah, that's weird, but I guess the one that did kind of Pixies. I mean, yeah, it was pretty upsetting, but the one that bothered me more than I thought it would have was what's that dude's name? Niall.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that saved Falco.
Yeah.
I thought like I remember seeing him way back when he was trying to arrest Irvin, Commander Irvin. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? You're part of this. You're part of the problem. And then I'm over here tearing up over him, you know, saying he misses kids and stuff. I'm like, wow, it was a good show.
That one did hurt a lot too. There were a lot of death in this like season. Of course, it's Attack on Titan, but like, I don't know, the emotions to cry for were much more pungent than usual.
I really enjoyed the Eldarin path being sand. The fact that it's a desert and just the imagery. Well, I get not as in, oh, we're looking at sand, but the fact that you can look at it as opportunity, because there's so many things that you can do with sand. One, you can build sand castles, you can put it together and use it as cement. Like there's so many things that you can do with just sand. And looking out, you just see how vast this desert is, which kind of shows that there's so many things that they could have done.
You know, speaking of paths, I was, you know, when Ymir's backstory was revealed finally, how did you feel about that episode? Because personally, when I read it in the manga, it was really heart-wrenching. I think I genuinely cried because I felt so much remorse for this poor little girl kind of just getting manipulated by all these people and this life that she was unfortunately born into. And then watching it was even more sad because it was just the music, the artistry, the cinematic experience. It was killing me watching that episode.
Yeah. You do feel bad for her.
Mhm.
I think the big thing is she almost looks like she was back to being a child in that in the desert. She did. I feel like she should have grown up a little bit, and then all of a sudden she was back to like being smaller in the sand. And I don't know why that is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't see why that would be the case, but
Mhm.
okay.
I don't know if it was kind of because, she grew to being just essentially a slave who, was kind of manipulated to feel that she was in love with this king
Yeah.
who didn't care a single thing about her, and
Yeah.
then fed her to her own children, and then I don't know if she reverted back to a child because, trauma, that's where it began. And she was just kind of stuck in this cycle of I'm a slave. I'm back in that moment where all this started. I don't know if that might be why. There's always those well, I don't know what it's called, like when tapping into your inner child, trying to, tap into that part of your life where maybe it was happier, but for her it wasn't happy. So I don't really know why she would revert back to that state.
I don't either.
Maybe because that was like the last time she was anything besides nothing. Because once she like gets hunted and then she meets with that I don't know what the hell that thing was, like hallucinogenic looking thing, and then she becomes a titan. She is not. I mean, slave is kind of even being kind of generous because obviously, dude didn't see her as anything besides a weapon, besides a tool.
Mhm.
So maybe that's just the form that she was. Because if it was if it was a choice of hers, maybe that's when she stopped essentially existing
Mhm.
as who she
Mm.
was as Ymir. Beyond then, she was, well, even quite hellish, not clearly not a person. So maybe if she chose, like, all right, I'm gonna give myself this form, maybe it's because that's the form that she was. After that, she's a tool.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I can see that, but like the sunken eyes and stuff, like she looks upset.
Yeah, clearly she, even at that time, she
Yeah.
didn't have an identity either. So
Mhm.
I think maybe it was just an artist choice. I don't know.
And maybe she
Yeah.
found a little bit of comfort in the past because there was a
Maybe.
period of time where King Fritz wasn't there. Maybe that's what she thinks of that form is. I don't know, but I do think her sunken eyes was going to resonate with her regardless because she's always lived a life where she didn't have a choice. And then
Yeah.
Eden shows up and brings life to it because he gave her a choice, kind of. He still
Yeah.
kind of nudged her in a
Well,
direction.
well,
He kind of just understood her because she didn't feel free, and neither did Aaron.
Mhm.
So that's why she kind of went to him and not Zeke. I find it crazy that Zeke was like, she listens to me, and then all of a sudden Aaron's there, and she's like, nope.
dude, that whole series, those 2, 3 episodes were such a insane game of Uno. I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my.
Yeah.
It was,
I think it's crazy to think that all of that's happening while Zeke is holding Aaron's head.
Yeah, it's like happening in seconds.
Head.
It was really cool though.
yeah.
And the worm. It looks like a spinal cord. Like it's so
Mhm.
weird.
I did see somewhere on Reddit where someone said that the idea for that product comes from I think it's called hallucigenia, which was like an ancient, like, ooh, pre-dinosaurs even, like, organism that had a similar design, similar nervous system looking design, or like appearance.
Okay.
So like,
So- And if you Google it, you're like, yeah, that's Aaron's. That's that thing. That's
Yeah.
definitely Aaron's. Founder Titan form.
does it ever like give you heebie-jeebies? So like, imagine that thing crawling on you. Like,
Oh, dude.
Why you gotta say that,
goodness.
man? I didn't, and now I do.
I totally felt that the moment I saw it like attached to his
Oh
head.
god.
I was just like, this is where nightmares are formed. I'm watching a centipede just attack.
Oh god, I wish I had those Men in Black things right now.
yeah, just for that.
For these last 12 seconds.
Speaking
I'm
of
so sorry.
nightmares, I got so many because of Yelena's, mind you, iconic stare at Armin at the time. I don't remember who she
Yeah.
was staring at, but I just remember that scene. I was like, I didn't sleep well that night at all.
Yeah, earlier you said Nightmare Woman or something. I thought, what the heck is? Oh, I know exactly who she's talking about. And yeah, that was horrifying.
Yeah, I didn't sleep that night.
I can
at
still
all.
see it.
Yes, it's burned. It's burned. It'll never go away. She was terrifying. I was like, what was up with that?
Could you imagine animating that? Oh my god.
Oh gosh, that poor animator probably couldn't sleep for weeks.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm still not done with that image, guys. It's too much.
Some say he's still not asleep.
No.
And this is why we have to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah. The
No,
one guy.
we have to wait longer because of Levi versus Zeke Part 2 in last season. That's why we have to wait.
Yeah.
That was awful.
Oh my god. I feel bad for Levi because he's just kind of here immobile. Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe he finds peace in it. He's like, I don't have to do nothing.
I really don't think so because he's such a strong character and he's known for just, all right, y'all ain't doing it. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
So this is probably killing him inside.
Just a fixer-upper, that guy.
There's a part of me that wonders if they're going to turn him into a Titan because right now he's broken. So I wonder if that's how they're going to fix him. I don't know.
I don't know if he'd even want that though.
Well, for starters, he can't because he's an actorman,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Never mind.
But now that you're saying that, thoughts in the brain.
Yeah. I don't know if he'd even want that though, because
No.
he's lived his whole life killing these things. I'm like,
And that's why I think Attack on Titan might do it because the whole tragedy and not getting what you want
yeah.
kind of fits. Kind of fits.
I mean, if they made him a Titan, I guess that would physically fix him. But then that would kind of nerf him because he's such a menace because of his speed and agility. Literally everything else would be a detriment to that, except maybe the Titan with the feet and the Jaws Titan.
Yeah, the Jaws Titan.
But I mean, going on records, Jaws Titan just loses.
Well,
Galliard was whack. Ymir
Yeah.
kind of whack. Falco, I mean, he's already taken. Well, he took a bit of a dub, but he's also like, really didn't, dude.
Yeah, it was a cool scene. I do like his design as the Jaws because it's almost
thought it
like
was
he
cool,
has
too.
like a helmet, like a
He has like similar mane, like fur feature, kind of like Galliard, but it looks more like feathers. Which Falcon, I think, is a cool call. Also, his claws look very
that's
much
exactly
like
what
bird
I think
claws.
they were going after. Falcon.
There's no way that wasn't the route they were going.
yeah.
Because it does look more beak-like.
Yeah.
He's got talons.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool
Yep.
though. Okay. So I feel like before we call off, I don't know how long we've been on this. Final episode thoughts. You.
Mikasa
alright
is
with it.
still boss.
What are those called? Those wall tines swimming like that? That is actual nightmare
God.
fuel. I
Oh.
never want to see that ever again.
Oh my, the fact that their heat burned everybody.
That was so graphic.
That was intense. Yeah, that's
I
right.
was like,
Oh my
oh
god.
my god.
I gotta rewatch that.
I also love that colossal titans will go faster in water.
They're
Good
like
to
sea
know.
turtles, right? I was
I mean,
telling
it
my
makes
brother
sense.
that.
It makes sense just through their sheer size.
Mhm.
Yeah, they'd be faster. Well, sort of.
Okay, so the episode came out like its usual time, right? But I
Mhm.
hadn't got a chance to watch it because, Lorenzo, my husband, was like sleeping during the day because he worked the day before. So I couldn't watch it yet without him. If I did, he'd be felt betrayed, and I won't do that to him. And
No.
so I went to go visit my brother, and he was watching it, but I sat back and somewhere else where I just overheard everything, and he was watching it in Japanese dub, so I wasn't understanding it. But he's just here like, "Oh my god, that's graphic!" And then he's here asking me like, "Gabby, did you know colossal titans swim?" And he's wondering how can they swim like that because they're so slow on land. I'm like, they're like sea turtles, right? Because sea turtles are real slow, and then when they swim, they're like, "Wee, we're in our environment."
Oh my gosh, you're beautiful. I love it. That is gonna be the promo.
Yes,
Okay.
just
Sea
terrifying
turtles.
little things. Not little things; they're huge, and just
Some would say colossal.
colossal.
Oh my goodness.
What about Eden's form? Finally getting a glimpse of it.
That thing's insane, dude.
Dude, he looks like a messed up bug because he has his top. He has like
Oh.
he has his top, his head, his rib cage, and then it extends a little bit, and then he has this giant rib cage and those little tiny hips.
And Al, you got thoughts on that?
Listen, I'm just gonna say his face looks pretty cool. Everything else just makes no structural sense. Like, come on, dude. How's that gonna hold up? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, come on.
I'm also curious how, because at first you don't see him. You don't see him in those scenes where, like, the colossals are absolutely evaporating
Right.
these ships. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, it's that thing. It's him. I'm like, how did he get there? Was he skeetering on his little hands and feet or something?
No, dude, he was riding on the tanks.
Was that it?
Surfing.
Okay.
Yeah, he was surfing on them. He controls them. He's like, hey, you two. Skis. And then that's how it works.
Yeah.
All I saw was just like this menacing cage, and no, like I don't get real visual of his legs or any limbs. So
Well, yeah. I will say that the detail they did on his face though.
yes.
Man, the fact that you can look at those eyes and be like, those are Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Instant love.
I mean, that thing is menacing regardless. I mean, like, I can laugh at it from a distance because I'm not going to get attacked by it. But if I saw that in real life, just like skeetering towards me with a bunch of burning colossals, I definitely would be crying.
Oh, yeah. I would absolutely be Ralph with him.
Yeah.
I'm in danger.
Oh my God. Yeah. So with this, and B's got to get going in a little bit. So I think if we ever have any more discussion on this, we'll bring it up soon because I know a lot of people have thoughts on this season, and I know I'd like to touch a little bit more on some episodes, so that'll be real fun any other time. So I like to thank Bee&AL for joining me on this Attack on Titan discussion, and hopefully when the next season comes, we can talk about it again. So we'll see you guys next time. I'm Goobs.
I'm Bee.
And you're Al.
And I am Al.
Bye.
Bye. I would like to take a moment to thank my wonderful co-hosts and friends, Bee&AL, for joining me on this discussion of Attack on Titan. If you would like to reach out to either of them at all, I will leave links to all of their social media in the description box below. Let me know your thoughts and opinions of what we discussed today in this episode by messaging me through either of my social media handles. Both my Twitter and Instagram handles are @theToonBalloon. I would love to hear from you. Also, definitely tell me any other webtoons, anime, or manga you are interested in, and I may talk about them in future episodes. The Toon Balloon podcast can be listened to on Soundcloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and more. Now, let's end this episode of the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today and taking the time to listen to my humble podcast. I look forward to talking with you again. This is the Toon Balloon podcast. I was your host, Gooby. See you next time.